I could feel it before I even saw him. My father, Matthew, was finally home for Christmas, just like every year. The air in the house was stiff with anticipation, the kind of tension you can taste, not just feel. Mom, Selina, moved around the kitchen, trying to appear cheerful, but there was a tiredness in her eyes that wasn't new. I tried to smile, but it felt fake even to me. Dad's suitcase rolled into the hallway with a dull thud, breaking the silence, and I could hear his deep laugh echoing through the living room. For a fleeting moment, I felt warmth, a glimpse of the childhood security I used to know. But I also felt a pang of dread. Something in the house already felt off. And then I saw him, Damien, my husband, standing by the window with that unreadable expression. He smiled when he saw Dad, but it didn't reach his eyes. I should have noticed the tension, the small ways he avoided my gaze during our morning coffee, the subtle hesitation in his tone when I asked about his work. But I was too caught up in the excitement of Christmas to pay attention. Selina moved closer to Damien, brushing past me casually, her hand lingering on his arm just a second too long. My stomach churned. Something about the way they looked at each other, the quiet familiarity, the shared smirk when Dad wasn't watching, it twisted inside me like a knife. Christmas lights flickered on the tree, casting shadows on the walls. For the first time in my life, I felt like a stranger in my own home. My father's laughter, the smell of cinnamon and pine, the cozy decorations, none of it mattered. Something dark had crept into our lives, and I couldn't see it coming, but I could feel it waiting. Days passed, and I tried to ignore the gnawing feeling in my chest. Damien was increasingly distracted, taking calls in the other room, smiling at texts he would hastily hide when I walked past. Selina seemed lighter, brighter, but in that calculated way that made my skin crawl. One evening, I found a glass of wine spilled on the counter, and the faint smell of her perfume lingered near it. I told myself I was imagining things. I wanted to believe in Damien, in Mom, in the life we had built, but my intuition screamed otherwise. I remember sitting alone in my room, staring at my hands as if they could provide answers. I thought about the phone calls I had accidentally overheard, the whispered conversations in the kitchen, the way Damien's eyes lingered on Selina in ways that were too intimate, too deliberate. My heart pounded, each beat a drum of impending doom. The house felt smaller, the walls closing in. Every laugh Dad offered seemed to mock me with its normalcy. I wanted to confront Damien, but the thought of what I might discover froze me. And then one night, everything changed. It was late. Dad had gone to bed early. He always did that on the first night of his arrival to recover from the long flight. I was up, unable to sleep, when I heard a faint creak from the living room. My heart started to race as I approached, careful not to make a sound. Through the crack of the slightly open door, I saw them. Damien and Selina, my husband and my mother, standing close, their hands intertwined, whispering in hushed tones, their lips brushing in secret kisses. The room seemed to shrink around me, the Christmas lights casting a cruelly festive glow on the betrayal unfolding before me. I froze, unable to move, unable to scream. Every memory, every trust I had placed in both of them shattered in a single moment. The world tilted, and I felt like I was falling through it. This was not just a betrayal of me, but of the life we had, the family we claimed to be. Tears streamed down my face, but I couldn't let them hear me. I retreated silently, heart pounding, body trembling, the sound of my own pulse deafening in my ears. For the first time, I felt truly alone, even in a house full of people I loved, or thought I loved. The next morning, I couldn't keep it inside. I waited until Dad left for a meeting and cornered Damien in the kitchen. My voice was trembling, my hands shaking. How could you?" I whispered, barely able to form the words. He looked at me, his expression torn, a mixture of guilt and defiance. He tried to speak, but the words faltered, stumbling over themselves. "Aria, it's complicated," he muttered. "I didn't mean." I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Complicated? You're married to me, and this is my mother you're with." My chest heaved. "Do you even understand what you've done?" Selina appeared behind him, her face pale, eyes wide. "Aria, Don't," I shouted. "Don't you dare, I don't want to hear it, I trusted you both." I gave everything to this family, and you, both of you, destroyed it." I stormed out, tears blinding me. For hours, I wandered the empty streets in the cold, trying to make sense of the senseless. Every step echoed with betrayal. Every breath burned with heartbreak. I felt the world closing in, suffocating me, reminding me that nothing would ever be the same again. The days that followed were unbearable. Damien avoided my gaze, Selina avoided mine, and the house felt like a cage of silence and resentment. Conversations were clipped, hollow, meaningless. I watched my mother, once my hero, retreat into a shell of shame and guilt. Damien, the man I had loved, now a stranger who haunted my home. I started making plans. I couldn't stay here, couldn't breathe in a place where every corner reminded me of their betrayal. I wrote long letters to Dad, explaining nothing fully but hinting at everything, begging him to come home soon to see the destruction left behind. Every night I lay awake, imagining the life that could have been. A life where trust wasn't shattered, where love wasn't poisoned, where family meant something real. But those dreams were gone, swept away in a storm of deceit. And in the quiet, in the darkness, I realized something I couldn't ignore. The only way to survive this heartbreak was to leave. Leave the house, leave Damien, leave Selina behind, and somehow start over. After that confrontation, the house felt like a tomb. Each room carried the weight of betrayal. I barely spoke, retreating into my own world. Damien avoided me completely, moving silently through the house, his presence a constant reminder of what he had done. Selina wandered around like a ghost, her eyes filled with shame but never fully meeting mine. The kitchen, once a place of warmth and laughter, now smelled of cold coffee and stale air. The living room echoed with silence. Even the Christmas decorations felt like cruel mockery, their lights sparkling over the ruins of trust. I tried to escape into my thoughts, imagining conversations that might have prevented this, rewriting moments that would never come true. But reality kept snapping back with brutal clarity. I could not forgive them, not Damien, not Selina. The sense of betrayal clung to me like a second skin, suffocating and inescapable. Finally, Dad returned from his business trip. He stepped into the house with a smile full of warmth, expecting the usual Christmas cheer. But he immediately sensed something was wrong. The tension, the cold glances, the hollow silence, it was palpable. I met him in the hallway, holding back tears. "Dad, something happened," I whispered.
If this story hits you, you can support the channel with a quick hype.
His face changed instantly from joy to concern. He asked no questions at first, letting me guide the story slowly, watching his expressions morph from confusion to shock to anger. Matthew's voice shook as I finished. I don't even know what to say," he muttered. I trusted everyone here." My chest ached as I watched the man who had always been my anchor crumble under the weight of betrayal. He promised me one thing immediately. He would protect me, no matter what. And I knew, deep down, the life we had once had could never be restored. Selina's demeanor shifted after Dad came home. The pride and arrogance she had carried began to crumble. She avoided eye contact, whispering apologies I could barely hear. "Aria, I never meant, I'm so sorry," she stammered. I wanted to scream at her, to shake the betrayal out of her, but no words could undo what had been done. Damien's infidelity with my own mother had poisoned the foundation of our family. Her guilt was visible, but it did not change the devastation she had caused. In the quiet moments, I watched her collapse in her chair, tears streaming down her face, realizing the irreparable damage. But even this breakdown did not bring relief. It was a stark reminder that some wounds never heal. Days later, I sat across from Damien at the small kitchen table, the sunlight streaming weakly through frosted windows. His eyes pleaded, but I saw only a stranger. I took a deep breath, my hands trembling as I spoke. "We're done," I said. "I can't forgive this. I can't live in a house filled with lies and betrayal. I want a divorce. I want to be free from you." His face went pale, a flicker of anger mixed with despair. He tried to reach for my hand, but I recoiled. The man I once loved, the man I thought I would grow old with, was gone. All that remained was a hollow shell, filled with regret and loneliness. The papers were signed a week later. Damien left the house silently, a man undone, carrying nothing but the weight of his choices. Finally, it was time for me to leave the home I had known all my life. I packed my things, each item a memory I couldn't keep. Dad helped quietly, giving me the strength to move forward. "I want you to come with me," he said. "We'll start over somewhere new, somewhere safe." I nodded, my heart heavy but resolute. I said goodbye to Selina, who could barely look at me, and I left Damien behind. The streets were cold, the sky gray, but for the first time in weeks, I felt a small spark of hope. As we drove away, I glanced back at the house one last time, a place where trust had been shattered, where love had been twisted into pain. And though the wounds would never fully heal, I knew I was choosing life over lingering in the ruins. The airport was a blur of lights and announcements. I clutched my bag, heart racing, stomach twisting in knots. Dad stayed close, a reassuring presence, but even his calm couldn't ease the storm inside me. I was leaving home, leaving Damien, leaving Selina, leaving everything I had known. The plane took off into the gray sky, leaving behind a city filled with memories and betrayal. As we ascended, I watched the clouds pass, feeling a mix of relief and grief. The past would haunt me, but the distance offered a chance to breathe, to survive. We settled into a small apartment in Dad's city. Everything was different, the streets unfamiliar, the air heavy with foreign smells, the people strangers. But there was no betrayal here, no twisted secrets. For the first time in weeks, I could close my eyes and feel safe. Dad and I shared quiet dinners, talked about trivial things to fill the silence, and slowly, the weight of trauma began to ease. I still missed home, yet I knew I had escaped the poison that had festered there. Even in this new city, memories clung to me. I'd see Damien's face in the reflection of windows, hear Selina's laughter in the rustle of leaves. Nights were the hardest. I would lie awake, thinking about the life I had lost, the family I could no longer trust. I journaled every thought, trying to make sense of the chaos, trying to understand how love and betrayal could coexist so cruelly. The words were heavy, but they offered clarity, a way to process pain without being consumed by it. Weeks passed before I heard from Selina, a message brief and awkward. "Aria, I'm sorry, truly." I stared at it, fingers hovering over the keyboard. What could I possibly say? That the damage was irreparable, that trust had been annihilated. I typed nothing. The silence was my answer. Forgiveness was a bridge too far, some things could not be mended. Damien reached out next, his emails and calls desperate, filled with apologies and excuses. He begged for a chance, for forgiveness, for a return to what we once had. But the heart cannot unfeel betrayal. I read his messages, tears stinging my eyes, and then deleted them all. He would have to live with the consequences of his actions, just as Selina would. Pain was now their companion, and justice, in its cruelest form, had already settled in my soul. Dad became my anchor. Every day, he reminded me that family wasn't about location or perfection. It was about honesty, protection, and love. We laughed at trivial things, went for walks in unfamiliar parks, and slowly, the shadow of betrayal began to lift. Yet, even in his embrace, I couldn't forget the house, the Christmas, the storm of deceit that had destroyed what I once believed to be unbreakable. One night, I walked along the river, the city lights reflecting on the dark water. I thought about my mother, about Damien, about the life I had left behind. Pain, yes, but also clarity. I realized something crucial. Survival didn't mean forgetting, it meant moving forward. I could carry the scars, but they would not define me. They would be a warning, a lesson, a reminder of the fragility of trust. The apartment felt smaller without the chaos, yet comforting. I spent nights reading, writing, and thinking. I learned to embrace solitude, to find strength in myself rather than in others. Sometimes I imagined Damien's regret, Selina's shame, and even Dad's sorrow for the family torn apart. But I could not allow their pain to consume me. My life was mine to reclaim. I wrote a letter to my father, thanking him for rescuing me, for giving me a chance to heal. I wrote to Selina too, but left the envelope unsent, proof that some bridges are too broken to cross. Every word I penned was a release, a catharsis. The past would not vanish, but by facing it, I could begin anew. The next Christmas was quiet, but for the first time, it felt real. Dad and I decorated a small tree, laughed at our clumsy attempts, and shared simple meals. No betrayal, no hidden glances, no broken hearts, just the fragile, tentative piece of survival. I looked at him, and for the first time in months, I smiled freely. The pain would linger, yes, but so would resilience. I had lost a family, but I had not lost myself. And in that realization, I found a small, powerful joy, one that no deceit could ever steal again.
If you've ever felt this kind of pain, don't walk through it alone. Hit subscribe and stay with us. More real stories are coming.